common country is filled with many types of students, but for those who prefer taking the stage, this segment is just for you. Here's Danielle Dean with the Arts and Entertainment Report. Welcome to another segment of the MBC Arts and Entertainment Report. Before we take a deeper look at some of the talented performers here at MHS, let's check out who's making the headlines in the Minute. Over the weekend, the MHS dance team had their first competition at Floyd Central High School in Indiana. The squad showed off their moves and received first place in hip-hop, third in jazz, and won best sportsmanship. The Black Box Theater has been packed the last 2 weekends to see the drama department's production of Dracula. The entire production was yet another example of talent on display both on and off the stage. As they strike the set for Dracula, the drama team will not have a lot of time to rest. They've already started working on their winter production of Anne Frank, which will hit the stage in February. Some of the actors that perform on the Mason stage have the dream of one day performing on the big stage or even on television. Ali Eckes caught up with a former Mason student who is living his dream of acting on a popular television series.
You can take your seat, Mr. Khan.
What's up, Noel? Hey, suspension over? Miss me?
Pretty Little Liars, a popular show on ABC Family, has become a hit ever since the first premiere. Noel Kahn, a character who is portrayed as the typical high school jock of the show, is not only a teen heartthrob, but also a former Mason graduate. Brant Daugherty, who graduated from MHS in the class of 2004, knew from the beginning that he wanted to be an actor and was aware of the steps he needed to take in order to get his big break.
Well, it actually took me quite a while to make it, I guess, in the big time, like you say. I still don't think I'm there yet, but I appreciate the compliment. You know, the first thing I did was get an education. I think that's the most important thing, hands down. Somebody told me at one point that they didn't think people in Hollywood were educated, and I think that's entirely wrong. I think all the most successful people in Hollywood get a college degree, or sometimes a master's degree, or a doctorate sometimes. And I think that was my first step. Was I went to Chicago and I went to film school and I learned everything I could about the business itself. And I wanted to get a behind-the-scenes education before I went in front of the camera so I would know what to do when I got there. My everyday routine when we're filming the show is a little funny, actually. I have to high school myself up a bit, because I've been out of high school for a couple of years now, so I have to wake up and remind myself that I've got to be 17 and kind of come in as a blank slate so they can paint on my face and do my hair and make sure that I look acceptable for the camera, for the high-definition camera, I should say. But we usually show up around 5 or 6 in the morning, and we go through about an hour of hair and makeup, which may sound like fun to some people. It's not fun to me at all. I think it's really boring. But we usually run lines, and all the cast is really fun, and we all hang out in the makeup trailer.
Brant was involved in a mix of theater classes that created a foundation for his career today. Alan Young, one of Daugherty's early acting teachers, remembers him as a hardworking student who was always willing to learn more.
Brant was always a really hard worker in class. It's funny, when he first started out auditioning for our shows here, he wasn't usually cast in very large roles. He had a lot to learn, and he was very hardworking, but he was, as an acting student, he got better and better as time went along. So as the years went on, he got larger and larger roles before he graduated. He also won our first Cappy Award in high school. It was for a little cameo role in The Wiz, and he was the gatekeeper, and he won our very first Cincinnati Cappy Award for that role.
Brant encountered a lot of obstacles in pursuit of his dream to be an actor, but he was never deterred. He admits that a lot of young actors give up too soon.
If I could give advice to anybody going into the TV or film industry, or honestly, anybody at all for that matter, anybody who's pursuing anything, would be stick with it. I see so many people quit so far before they should, and I've watched people who are far more talented than I am give up and go home, and it breaks my heart to watch really talented people give up on what they love, and I think that it's a travesty, honestly, and you just have to stick with it. You got to keep your eye on the prize. I realize that sounds like a cliche, but you have to make sure that you take the steps to get to where you want to be in the end. Like, I knew that I wanted to be an actor, so I went to film school, and I went to LA, and I worked as an assistant, and I met people, and I never took my eyes off the ball. And that's my main advice, is just to stick with it.
From growing up in the Mason area to living his teenage years as the average everyday high school student, Brant Doherty is now adapting to the change of living in Los Angeles, California, where his dreams of being an actor are currently taking place. No matter what field a person is going into, reaching it is always going to have its obstacles. Brant faced many challenges, but like he said, the key to success is to stick with it. I'm Ali Eckes, MBC News.
Just about every kid who has a part-time job will admit that they get pretty bored at work. They complain about how bad the pay is or the poor working conditions. Ali Unterreiner has a story of an MHS student who can really say she never experiences a dull moment on the job.
Fast food, babysitting, and department stores are the common occupation most teenagers seek when looking for a part-time job. But for one student at MHS, when it comes to her after-school profession, she takes the term clowning around to a whole nother level. Junior Alexis Carpenter spends her weekends working for a family clowning business called Conkadoo Clown Company, where she gets to transform from a high school student into a fun and entertaining clown that she has named Fun Size.
My grandma started clowning, and then my mom started a business, and after that I just started off there and been clowning ever since. Fun Size, I came up with the name because my stepbrothers called me that the first time I've ever met them, and so it kind of stuck and it became my clown name. And getting ready is kind of difficult because I have to put on a wig in order to do it, and the makeup is really simple. I just put 2 circles on my cheeks and make a smile out of my mouth and put eyebrows on.
Becoming a clown doesn't just happen overnight. Just like any other career, clowning requires a special set of skills and practice that you can only learn at clowning college. And yes, I did just say clowning college.
What I learned at clowning school is how to trip yourself. Sometimes you can, they make your faces, like a clown, I think it's called Mama Clown. She can give you your own face. Also, they teach you different balloon sculptures. My favorite part about being a clown is making kids smile. Making the balloons are really fun. I find that very entertaining. Being a clown, you get bullied by the little kids because they like to step on your shoes and blow your horns and pull your nose.
This weekend, when a legion of teenagers head to work to their fast food drive-thru or their babysitting jobs, Alexis plans to clown around while making balloon animals, painting faces, and bringing smiles to the faces of kids. I'm Ali Unterreiner, MBC News.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of MBC News. There are several traditions here at MHS, but perhaps the most exciting is Halloween. Today we leave you with some of those spooky creatures captured by videographer Ali Unterreiner. As always, we're committed to bringing you the news of students making the news here in Comic Country. For everyone in front of and behind the cameras, I'm Brandy Emerson.
You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you